The story begins with the desolate scene at the border of the Great Chaos Continent, where the 9 Deaths, one life realm lies amidst thousands of crumbling, precarious rock formations. This is a treacherous terrain where life and death blend in chaos, with bones scattered everywhere. The gathering of fierce beasts here leaves one uncertain of their safety. Amidst this scene, a girl struggles to explore, beads of sweat dotting her chest from exhaustion. With each step, she breathes heavily. Phew, she stops to rest, glancing around wearily, then says, "Since I enter here, I've been chased by a black lightning bull for 3 whole days. A lifetime grandmaster like me, the 990th sect leader of Wangxian, has been reduced to this state." In her heart, she begins to feel anxious, wondering, could he really be hiding here? Qingqing recalls not long ago when her master fell gravely ill. In his dying moments, he struggled to impart a few words to her. "Cough, cough, Qingqing, my lifespan has reached its end. Now I pass the position of sect leader to you," her master said, his voice growing weaker, each word filtered through increasingly labored breaths. He fought through the pain, continuing to instruct, "Next, I will be brief. You must remember what I tell you in your heart." Lu Qingqing worriedly clutched her master's wrinkled arm, sobbing as she said, "Master, I'm here." Her master's eyes were half closed from fatigue, his gaunt face nearly devoid of vitality. He spoke in a weak voice, each word trembling. "Kick off, Qingqing, don't be sad. Our Wangxian sect is now just a third-rate sect about to be destroyed by the Divine Sword sect. Actually," he paused, coughing loudly as if to release the pain tearing at his heart, then continued. 100,000 years ago, during the era of primordial chaos, our Wangxian sect was once a great high-level sect. Don't mention the current Divine Sword sect. They weren't even worthy of licking our shoes back then." A harsh cough seized him, but he held it back, his eyes shining with bright memories. "At that time, our sect had a grandmaster who was renowned throughout the world. He was not only handsome and generous but also highly educated, with features that were impeccably refined. Even the grass beneath his feet dared not be trampled. His martial prowess, it could be said that Lin Deyu was no match for Yang Liu, sweeping across the Great Chaos Continent. Unmatched by anyone. An absolutely invincible existence, truly admirable and very handsome." The master's tale seemed to transport Lu Qingqing back to the golden age of the sect, but the harsh reality before her only deepened the pain in her heart. The trembling arm was raised, and master tried his best to speak with slow gestures, his voice coarse but clear. But the grandmaster was born without reason and also retreated without reason. 100,000 years ago, the grandmaster chose to live in seclusion at the 9 Deaths, one life realm in the Great Chaos Continent. To be honest, it is not an ordinary place. The 9 Deaths, one life realm, is a place where wolves roam like a jungle, and fierce beasts are everywhere. Anyone who is not a true hero would find it hard to survive. I was once lucky enough to pass through there, but as soon as I set foot in, I was so frightened that I didn't even recognize myself anymore. Fortunately, at that time I had brought enough clothes, otherwise I wouldn't have had time to run." He forced a smile, his expression still somewhat haunted. "At that moment, running away under the twilight, I realized that my youth had been lost forever. Truly, it was a terrifying experience." Qingqing, sitting beside him, watched him struggle to illustrate, thought he seemed completely healthy, not knowing that this weakness was merely an act. She was surprised to see master lean forward, take out a token, and use his last bit of strength to show it off. Fortunately, before going into seclusion, the grandmaster left behind a mysterious token for the sect. He said that if the sect faced life and death danger, just bring this token to the 9 Deaths, one life realm, and you would be able to find him. There the grandmaster would ensure safety, take care of lodging, and assign clear tasks. If you do well within 300 years, you might even be able to buy a mount. The last statement eased the tense atmosphere, but everyone understood that master's words carried great expectations. 500 years can buy a cave mansion. Suddenly he pretended to be aggrieved, sobbing, "Hoo-hoo. Such selfless dedication, thinking of those struggling cultivators like us. I ask you, Grandmaster, what spirit is this?" "It is the spirit of great socialism." "Impressive." The more Lu Qingqing listened, the more annoyed she became. She suddenly fell into a state of confusion, her emotions in an unusual turmoil. Sect leader Wang of Wangxian sect looked at his female disciple with a worried gaze. After speaking too much, the corners of his mouth were now filled with blood. Breathing weakly, he struggled to utter his last words. Cough, cough. Qingqing, do you remember? Now the only way to save the sect is that you must find the Grandmaster before the protective formation is broken. You must rebuild Wangxian sect. As he said this, he suddenly spat out a large mouthful of blood, collapsed onto his knees, and passed away. Lu Qingqing was stunned, crying out, Master. She sobbed, choked up and unable to speak. Disciple, I. It turns out Lu Qingqing cried not because she couldn't bear to witness the teacher-student separation, but because she had forgotten her master's instructions. Such an unforgettable memory would be forever etched in her heart. Lu Qingqing still felt an unending sense of emotion. She softly called out to her master. Perhaps this disciple is missing you again. She took out her master's token, gazing at it intently while thinking, Master, the Grandmaster has been living in the 9 deaths, one life realm for 100,000 years. Is he really still in this world? Suddenly, from afar, an ancient monster appeared. It soared high above, seemingly scouting the situation. Its piercing cry echoed, startling Lu Qingqing. Unexpectedly, the beast dove straight down towards her. With its colossal size and the pressure it exuded, it filled Lu Qingqing with horror. In panic, she screamed, "Ay!" Staring at the monster before her, she trembled and muttered, "Oh my, this is the great monster from legend, the Dark Phoenix." Lu Qingqing became even more terrified as she recalled the rumors. The legend says that the Dark Phoenix is a brutal creature, fond of devouring humans, possessing unrivaled power. Even the masters of the Divine Sword sect could only meet a tragic end when facing it. The beast drew increasingly closer. Lu Qingqing, losing all sense of direction, collapsed to the ground. Tears streamed down her face as her heart ached. Could it be that I haven't found the Grandmaster and must lose my life here? Master, I'm sorry. Suddenly, the creature swung its wings fiercely, striking the ground and creating a deafening explosion. Lu Qingqing was thrown onto the back of the beast. She was immediately startled by its actions, involuntarily exclaiming a soft The Dark Phoenix flew her straight into a violent vortex. The mist and smoke enveloped the area, creating a dark and dangerous landscape imbued with a primal essence. The chaos and slaughterous scenes left her in awe. Lu Qingqing pondered, the Dark Phoenix didn't eat me. Instead, it allowed me to ride on it. Is this a dream? How can a great beast like the Dark Phoenix allow a human to ride it? Or does it want to take me somewhere? A person and a beast soared deep into the very heart of the 9 deaths, one life realm. This place was both perilous and desolate, embodying an enigmatic cyclical existence. The Dark Phoenix landed in a grand hall. It gently leaned to allow Lu Qingqing to dismount easily. Then, unexpectedly, it spoke. Master, the task has been completed. Hearing this, Lu Qingqing was so surprised that she was left speechless. She looked at it with a puzzled gaze. It can talk. From above the hall, a deep and majestic male voice echoed down. All right, step back. The Dark Phoenix replied softly, Yes, master. Lu Qingqing's heart raced in horror at the exchange. There is someone here. An awkward moment ensued as she bowed respectfully to the mysterious figure above. Younger generation Lu Qingqing respectfully greets you. May I ask who you are? Her heart was filled with unease, anxious about the situation before her. This person is who even the Dark Phoenix has to bow and acknowledge his authority? Suddenly, a medallion flew out from Lu Qingqing's body. She stared blankly as it detached from her. A second later, recovering her senses, she panicked and raised her hand, shouting loudly, Why did you take my medallion? The other person caught the medallion in his hand, laughing mockingly, Ha, take! To dare call it taking from this Grandmaster? Lu Qingqing was stunned, but immediately understood. She murmured, Could it be, you are the first-generation sect leader of Wangxian sect, Grandmaster Chen Zhuan? The other person did not respond, only smiled. Chen Zhuan, imposing and dignified, stepped into the light. His silver hair glimmered like moonlight, his attire radiant, exuding the nobility and authority of a supreme sect leader. Lu Qingqing immediately knelt down, respectfully saying, "I am Lu Qingqing, the 990th generation sect leader of Wangxian sect. I implore the first-generation Grandmaster to return from seclusion, hoping you will come back to manage Wangxian sect." Chen Xuan remained silent for a moment, his gaze revealing a hint of amusement. He pondered. The Wangxian sect has been hidden for 100,000 years, and yet there are still people who remember me. He stroked his chin and said slowly, "Tell me everything that has happened." After listening to Lu Qingqing explain the entire situation, Chen Xuan merely nodded lightly, his eyes reflecting contemplation. "Are you saying that a group of semi-corrupted demigods from Divine Sword sect almost seized my territory?" Chen Xuan's eyes flashed with urgency as he cleared his throat and continued, "It's only been over 100,000 years, and the power I've built has deteriorated to this extent. I, someone who has crossed over from another world, have never endured such humiliation." Lu Qingqing suddenly came to her senses, murmuring in confusion, "Ah, the Grandmaster is talking about the semi-corrupted demigods, and what the hell is this crossing over thing?" The atmosphere in the room became oppressive. Chen Xuan took a sip of tea and exhaled deeply to ease the situation. He slowly began to introduce himself. "Correct, my name is Chen Xuan, and I am someone who has crossed over to this world. Previously, I came with a special system when I stepped into this fantastical world. The first place I arrived at was the Wangxian sect. The system stated that as long as I could establish my own power, I would receive rewards for cultivation, and the cradle that could recognize the cultivation I built was the Imperial Dynasty. At that time, with the help of the system, I established a powerful force in Hongming continent, which had long been the cradle of the Wangxian sect for generations. Cultivation under the reward system continues to rise. In no time, I became the supreme existence in the Hongming continent. This continent consists of 7 realms: Realm of Mind Focus, Key Cultivation Realm, Drunken Bone Realm, Yang Spirit Realm, Divine Transformation Realm, Dao Principles Realm, and Dao King Realm. All are under my command, Chen Xuan. I proudly flaunted my system interface. Love me alone in the dark alley. Love my unbeatable appearance as well." Chen Xuan continued with his introspective lamentations. "I originally thought that after reaching the pinnacle in the Hongming continent, I would go to another continent to establish my own sect. I still remember when I bid farewell to the disciples of various sects, they were all reluctant to part ways. 'Grandmaster, without you, how will we survive? Grandmaster, please don't leave.' At that moment, I just sat in the system interface, filled with emotion. The Grandmaster must move on to the next station. Take care of yourselves." An unexpected turn of events unfolded. But just then, the system suddenly malfunctioned. A familiar sound echoed. Ting, ting. "System notification, you have experienced all the content of the current version." The abrupt statement left me choking up, and I hurriedly asked, "What will happen?" The system replied succinctly with 3 words, "Will shut down." As the words ended, the system interface immediately went dark. Chen Xuan froze, standing alone in midair. A moment later, gravity pulled him down, and he fell straight into the abyss before the astonished eyes of thousands of disciples from various sects. His scream echoed throughout the barren Rocky Mountains. "Oh dear, oh my." The witnesses were taken aback. Some shook their heads while others swallowed hard. Grandmaster Chen Xuan was plunged straight into a state of mental shock. His body turned icy cold. The cup of tea in his hands had gone cold long ago, leaving him no chance to enjoy it. He sighed, his face blank, murmuring, "So I can't break through anymore. Not being able to break through means there are still people stronger than me in this world. And if there are people stronger than me, then my undefeated status is no longer secure." Lu Qingqing quietly observed. Her gaze held a hint of sympathy, but she couldn't hide her amusement at his helpless expression. She gently called out, "Grandmaster Chen Xuan?" Chen Xuan didn't respond right away. He was lost in thought, resting his hand on his forehead, bowing his head as if questioning himself. "If I'm not secure, how can I become a salted fish? And if I can't become a salted fish, then I'll be chopped down by others. He sprang up, his eyes glimmering with a touch of sorrow. Oh dear, that's right. A mistake. This guy made a mistake. Only after being undefeated can I lie down and be a salted fish. Lu Qingcheng couldn't help but chuckle softly. She reminded him, Grandmaster, perhaps you should reconsider your definition of salted fish. Lu Qingcheng looked at his reaction, feeling astonished in her heart. She wondered, what's wrong with the Grandmaster? She could only see Chen Zhuan sitting like a recluse, talking to himself. He muttered, I fear there are powerhouses from other continents coming to kill me. That's why I've had to hide in the 9 Deaths, one life realm of the Hongmei continent for 100,000 years. This is the state I'm enduring. He curled up, lost in thought within his inner world. I'm really pitiful. I'm too weak, I must not be strong enough. Without a system, I don't dare to go outside to play. I will definitely be killed by others. In fact, the system had explained to him many times if he was very strong, but he refused to believe it. He even frightened himself with strange dreams. Last night, I dreamed that a powerhouse from another continent came to kill me. I've endured in that for 100,000 years. Looking at how he imagined and feared so, even outsiders had to sigh. This is indeed the final stage of delusional victim syndrome. Chen Xuan also found it hard to understand himself. He thought, but now even a divine sword sect of the Hongmei continent dares to trample on my head. Could it be that they really don't see me as anything? He was lost in thought, his hand unconsciously fiddling with a small sip of the harmonious energy to ease his boredom. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind. What if I just let it go and casually unleash a palm strike to blow up the divine sword sect? Just then, the system unexpectedly announced, Ding ding, the sect system upgrade has been completed. Qin Xuan stared at the screen, momentarily stunned, and before he could react, the system continued to boot up. The light from the interface illuminated his face, accompanied by the announcement, New mission launched, 6 rounds of trials before progressing to the next continent. Reading this, he gradually grasped the situation. A wave of horror surged in his heart as he wondered, next continent? What the hell is this? The screen continued to display mission information. First trial round. Assist the younger generation, Lu Qingcheng, in resolving the sex crisis. Note, the master must not take direct action. Everything must be handled by the younger generation themselves. Rewards will be given upon completion of the trial, or when the younger generation's cultivation breaks through. The master will also receive corresponding rewards. After reading this, Chen Chuan could only be dumbfounded, dazed, and then he toppled over. He mumbled to himself, Oh my God, another new mission. Finally, this system has decided to upgrade. Immediately after, the system's monotone voice rang out. Will the master accept the mission? He felt overwhelmed with happiness when he saw the system return to him. His whole body trembled, tears streaming down his face. He exclaimed, So there's a chance to go to another continent, right? Qin Xuan shouted, his voice choked as he faced the response from the system. Is that even a question? Lu Qingcheng, standing nearby, observed the emotional display of joy and anger that was no different from witnessing a genuine performance by Chen Zhuan. His gaze lingered on the system interface, his facial expression seemingly devoid of any clear emotions. Not able to hold back, she stepped forward and gently called out, Grandmaster, Grandmaster. However, his gaze gradually shifted towards her, causing Qingcheng to ponder. Why is the Grandmaster suddenly staring at me like that? Does he actually notice me? But with such an age difference, could he accept me? Just then, Chen Xuan suddenly spoke up, his tone resolute. I accept. His unexpected words struck Lu Qingcheng like a bolt from the blue, making her unable to hold back a gasp. Ah! Qin Xuan grasped her hand, his eyes bright with joy as he spoke to himself. Haha, that system told me to recruit Yi and nurture the next generation to receive rewards. But it didn't allow me to act directly. It seems I have to let Xiao Luo take action instead. Lu Qingcheng completely misunderstood Chen Zhuan's action. She thought to herself, is the Grandmaster confessing to me? Then will it lead to the forbidden training between master and disciple? Increasing these degenerate plot elements, how can I accept this? Her mind began to wander, even thinking about naming their future children. A son named Chen Chang would be good, but seeing how self-absorbed I am, could this be a sign of the late stage of love? Meanwhile, Chen Xuan remained calm, not noticing Lu Qingcheng's strange expression. He casually asked, "By the way, Xiao Lu, my grandmaster is very tough. But are you tough?" The unexpected question left Lu Qingcheng bewildered. She hesitantly asked back, her voice soft, "What do you mean by tough?" Chen Xuan withdrew his hand and seriously explained, "What I mean is, forging iron requires oneself to be tough. Do you understand this principle? Regarding the sex matters, I won't help you. You'd have to rely on yourself to solve it. This grandmaster will never get involved, even if it costs me my life." At this moment, Lu Qingcheng finally understood his meaning. She sighed, her voice filled with disappointment. "Ah, it's tough in that sense." She became completely despondent. After a moment, she sadly said, "But Grandmaster, the sect leader of the Divine Sword sect has the Heavenly Sword battle oath. How can I possibly defeat him? I can't withstand even 3 moves. Based on oneself, it is certain to die." Ken Xuan also realized this. "Oh, is that so? That's right. The opponent has the Heavenly Sword battle oath while you have nothing at all." Lu Qingcheng sighed, deducing for herself, "The Grandmaster must be worried about my insufficient strength, wanting to pass down some divine skill or precious artifact to turn the situation around." She told herself, "The Grandmaster is indeed a soft-hearted immortal." But in reality, Chen Xuan arrogantly responded, "Then the Grandmaster can only gift you a set of clothes. When the time comes, wearing them will surely look better than those lowly battle physique." These words completely crushed Lu Qingcheng. She was reluctantly pulled along by him. "Come on, the Grandmaster will take you to pick out some clothes." Lu Qingcheng could only cry inwardly, wondering it's a matter of life and death, and still the question is whether the clothes look good or not. Saying that, she suddenly widened her eyes and realized, wait. I understand now, it's funeral clothes. It turns out the Grandmaster wants me to die while still maintaining my dignity. Kim Swan snapped his fingers. Poof. The scene immediately changed. He brought Lu Qingcheng to a strange space. She couldn't help but be astonished, glancing around frequently, her eyes wide open. Lu Qingcheng actively asked, "Master, where is this?" Chen Xuan replied gently, "This is my dressing room." Chen Xuan cupped his hands to his mouth and spoke loudly to the people in front. "Hey, my descendant needs a set of clothes. Who among you is willing to follow her?" Lu Qingcheng looked at the 4 figures in front of her. They wore 4 outfits of different colors. She was astonished, gazing carefully for a moment before exclaiming, This is clothing. No, this is clearly fire, water, wind, earth, the 4 phenomena of battle physique. And each of them surpasses the innate battle physique," she observed carefully. A surge of intense emotion rose in Lu Qingcheng's heart. Looking at the wind figure, she felt as if she was being drawn in. Her voice was a whisper, her eyes shining brightly. "If I wear this, oh my, isn't it as if the whole world was born just for Lu Qingcheng?" She smiled dreamily. "With such a body, just thinking about it makes me feel like I'm already several times more charming." But after a moment, she pointed at the fire figure and turned to Chen Xuan. "Master, I want this one." Before she could finish her sentence, Chen Xuan abruptly kicked all the figures away, not forgetting to shout loudly, "Get out of Lu Qingcheng's sight immediately." He grimaced, shaking his head with discomfort. "So ugly, how would my descendant dare to wear this to meet people? Quickly change for a new batch. It must be of a level suitable for a Paris Fashion Week." Lu Qingcheng was stunned in the face of Chen Xuan's prejudice. She muttered with an embarrassed expression, "Did I just see the Grandmaster blow up the entire battle physique statue with a kick?" Right behind her, the atmosphere suddenly shifted strangely. Lu Qingcheng quickly turned around, her gaze landing on a gloomy purple battle physique statue that radiated an aura of malevolence. She reminded herself, primordial supreme poison body. Lu Qingcheng immediately recalled the legend from thousands of years ago. It was said that the lone Azura, possessing the incredibly toxic innate poisonous technique body, single-handedly charged into the mountains to save his mother. He challenged 100 heavenly azures without suffering a scratch and won overwhelmingly. That achievement shocked the world. At that time, a battle physique statue faced 100 opponents, with corpses littered beneath the feet of the poison cultivator, instilling fear in all who beheld it. Looking at the statue before her, Lu Qingcheng couldn't help but exclaim, "The poison body is the path to invincibility. Why rely on the strength of others?" The noble and majestic aura emanating from the statue filled her with admiration. With determination flashing in her eyes, Lu Qingcheng emotionally pointed at the battle physique statue and said to Chen Zhuan, "Grandmaster, I want to have this." However, Chen Zhuan merely scoffed. He waved his hand mercilessly, completely destroying the statue. He sternly reminded her, "Daughter, it would be better not to dress and act too defiantly." Lu Qingcheng felt as if she had collapsed. She sank to the ground, filled with regret. She sighed and murmured, "Such rare poison bodies exist in the world, yet the Grandmaster shattered it with a single blow." The other battle physiques appeared and then vanished like a cycle. The conversation between Lu Qingcheng and Chen Zhuan went on endlessly, as if it would never come to an end. Lu Qingcheng sighed, "So I want the coexisting with thunder, mental mutation thunder sword body." Chen Zhuan smirked, looking over. "Himph, too gaudy, not suitable." Lu Qingcheng then shifted direction. "What about the spirit water body that was once the battle physique of the Empress?" Chen Zhuan flatly shook his head, "Not modern enough." She didn't give up. Floating golden immortal body. Legend says it can stand shoulder to shoulder with deities. Chen Zhuan frowned, sneering. Just hearing the name makes it feel outdated. Lu Qingcheng pouted. Then I want this one." This time, Chen Zhuan said nothing, immediately destroyed it without needing to argue. Lu Qingcheng held her head, lamenting, "Oh dear, Grandmaster, are you destroying the battle physique or my weak spirit here?" Chen Zhuan ignored her reproach, still calmly browsing through items, pretending not to care about her feelings. She began to cry, clinging to his leg. "Don't destroy it anymore. Don't destroy it anymore. The last one, no matter what, must be kept for me." In the end, Chen Zhuan also relented. He handed her a set of clothes, saying as he gave it, "Fine then. This one looks quite decent. Colors and patterns match you." Like being freed, Lu Qingcheng nodded repeatedly. "Aha, aha, aha." In her heart, she quietly cheered. "Oh ancestors, as long as I'm not chosen anymore, anything is good. I'm very easy to please." He looked at the outfit in his hands, thoughtfully evaluating it for a while before saying, "Yes, but your taste is still insufficient. I fear that wearing this outfit will lead to you being burned alive by the flames of trend." Lu Qingcheng, hearing this, didn't understand. She tilted her head and asked, "Burned by taste? Does the Grandmaster mean that I have only reached the realm of mind focus, and if I forcibly harness the flames of battle physique, I could end up burning to death?" The feeling of regret hadn't yet faded when despair surged up. She mumbled gloomily, "But I am the last hope of the sect. If I don't seize this opportunity, the people of the sect will all perish." Lu Qingcheng thought for a long time and finally made up her mind. She raised her head, showing a determined expression, and said to Chen Zhuan, "Grandmaster, I want to try." Chen Zhuan did not hesitate. He channeled his energy, his hands subtly shifting as he transformed the outfit to fit her body perfectly. "All right, then try it on." Lu Qingcheng quickly donned the outfit. The moment she finished putting it on, her entire being seemed to change. The fusion fire combat body outfit seemed to radiate with brightness. The temperature from the outfit gradually increased, spreading throughout her body, causing Lu Qingcheng to panic and scream. "Ah, Grandmaster, I'm so hot." King Xuan raised his hand to regulate the energy within the outfit, his voice calm yet authoritative. "Do not resist. The first time always hurts." He observed silently. This was the great Sun Yang body, far surpassing the capabilities of an ordinary battle physique. So what would a battle physique talent be? Chen Xuan muttered, his eyes flashing with satisfaction. Compared to this, it's nothing at all. At this moment, Lu Qingcheng could barely hear Chen Xuan's words. Her entire focus was dominated by the scorching heat from the battle physique. The temperature kept rising like a flame burning her body, making her feel power surging but also experiencing immense pain. She could only endure, absorbing the heat while letting out a soft ah. Chen Xuan observed the situation of the female descendant and thought to himself, if she successfully cultivates the great Sun Yang body, this fire will grant her immortality. Just at that moment, Xiao Luo, with a fire attribute, selecting this volume seemed like fate. After a while of enduring the heat, Luo Qingcheng gradually reached the level of transforming celestial fire. The process of absorbing fire to perfect her battle physique had succeeded. She seemed to become a completely different person. Her entire body was suffused with blazing red spiritual fire, and a fiery mark appeared on her forehead. Luo Qingcheng touched her body, feeling the newfound strength. She smiled, enjoying the unfamiliar fragrant smell of burning fire, then sighed. I have successfully achieved harmony. When the battle physique receded, she realized this was indeed the great Sun Yang body. She sincerely bowed in gratitude. Chen Xuan, the descendant is Qingcheng. Thank you for granting me this physique, Grandmaster. Qin Xuan replied calmly, Rise, it is merely a technique. If you truly want to thank me, then rebuild the Wang Xian sect. After saying this, he mumbled to the system. System, the clothes willingly followed the descendant. It doesn't count as me taking action, right? The system immediately confirmed, does not count. After completing everything, Luo Qingcheng took her leave. Grandmaster, then I shall take my leave back to the sect. The situation there is urgent. I will return to express my gratitude to you later. Just as she was about to leave, Qin Xuan suddenly called out, Ah, wait. There's an important matter I need you to handle. Luo Qingcheng instantly became serious, her eyes gleaming with determination. She asked right away, Grandmaster, what is it? If needed, I will certainly risk everything to accomplish it. She was absolutely certain that if a character like the Grandmaster said this was a great matter, it must be something significant. However, Chen Xuan did not seem excited. He glanced at Luo Qingcheng, saw her cheerful and vibrant, and could only smile wryly before saying, Well, it's good that she has that insight, but this isn't easy. Saying that, he became serious, feigning the pose of a highly skilled person deep in thought, looking at her earnestly and asking, Does she know how to cook? Luo Qingcheng immediately showed a flustered expression, as if taken by surprise by a question that was beyond her expectations. She stood there dumbfounded, not understanding what the great matter the Grandmaster was actually referring to. Huh? She exclaimed with confusion. Before long, a sumptuous meal had been meticulously prepared by Luo Qingcheng. Dishes like stewed chicken with royal sauce, braised pork, and stir-fried peppers with meat were all colorful and delicious, making anyone who looked at them salivate. She wore a simple yet warm chef's outfit, creating a feeling that was both amusing and strange. Deep down, she silently lamented. The sect is facing life and death crisis, yet the Grandmaster tells me to cook here, and even forces me to wear this ridiculous outfit. It feels so odd. She gently bowed her head, addressing Chen Xuan, Grandmaster, the food is ready. Junior must return to the sect now. But how could Chen Xuan easily let such a beautiful cook with such delicious food leave? He smiled politely, holding her back. Don't be in a hurry, it has been a long time since anyone has dined with me. Come, try this piece of pork. Luo Qingcheng hesitated, feeling both flustered and a bit dissatisfied. She firmly said, Grandmaster, whether I die out there right now or even jump down here, I still have no mood to eat. But who would dare to defy Chen Xuan? He immediately placed a large piece of pork into the girl's mouth, causing her to nearly choke and cough violently. My Grandmaster. As soon as the piece of meat was swallowed, Luo Qingcheng felt the delicious flavor bursting in her mouth. She closed her eyes to savor it, blissfully enjoying this special delicacy. This is not ordinary pork. This is the meat of a holy unicorn, Qingcheng thought to herself. This type of meat was completely different from any she had tasted before. She couldn't stop exclaiming, so delicious, a wonderful delicacy. Just a small piece, and the pure energy from the fire spirit had spread throughout her body. In that moment, Qingcheng recalled the legend about the origin of this meat. It was said that 100,000 years ago, lone Nazarite, in an attempt to save his mother from a severe illness, decided to hunt the unicorn to obtain the holy item for healing. However, not only did he fail to catch one, but he was also forced by the unicorn to perform eloquent speech for 3 years to be spared. At that time, Lone Nazara, surnamed Oo, used all his talent to perform, illustrating with body language and rich words. The unicorns showed great interest, praising his performance as wonderful, and thus called him O Dak Gong. This illustrates the value and rarity of unicorn meat. Lu Qingcheng continued to chew and swallow with fascination, unable to hide her delight. She smiled in satisfaction. "Ha ha, so great." Ken Zuan looked at her, puzzled. "What's wrong with this girl? Is she choking?" Zhu Dao quickly handed her a cup of water, kindly saying, "Drink some water, don't rush." Lu Qingcheng waved her hand in refusal. "I'm fine, I'm not thirsty. Don't worry too much, Grandmaster Jr. is still okay." Chen Zuan forced Lu Qingcheng to drink a glass of water, his tone somewhat sarcastic. "Oh, you look so thirsty, go ahead and drink." Lu Qingcheng helplessly accepted the glass of water, not daring to refuse. She took small sips, but the water spilled out at the corners of her mouth, leaving small trickles down her shirt. As the cool water seeped into her body, a marvelous sensation spread throughout her, leaving her astonished. She widened her eyes, thinking to herself, "This is not ordinary water. This is clearly Jade Spring Divine Nectar. Furthermore, it's not just a drop, but a whole glass full." She glanced at the glass of water in her hand, and Chen Zhuan's mischievous smile. Lu Qingcheng's heart suddenly trembled. She reminded herself, "This divine water is worth tens of thousands of spirit stones, yet the Grandmaster gave me a whole glass to drink. Could it be, the Grandmaster truly loves me?" In a fit of emotion, Lu Qingcheng unexpectedly knelt down, hurling her head to the ground with a thud. She spoke with deep gratitude. "Grandmaster, such valuable Jade Spring Divine Nectar, I truly do not deserve to receive it. Thank you so much." Chen Zuan merely smiled and waved his hand. "No need to be so polite. I have an entire lake of this stuff." He turned around, gracefully extending his hand behind him, revealing a shimmering scene of the lake. The sight left Lu Qingcheng so astonished that she almost forgot to breathe. She looked at the vast lake before her with confusion in her heart, thinking, "Is this the Emperor's aura of the first-generation Grandmaster? This is truly beyond imagination." Suddenly, a thunderclap rang out by her ear. The girl jumped in fright, her face bemusedly glancing left and right before asking Chen Zhuan, "Oh, Grandmaster, there's thunder. It's too crude, and it seems I've broken through, becoming a drunken bone realm now." Chen Zhuan gently replied, "Ah, that's the thunder caused by the breakthrough." While she was still speaking, the system screen suddenly displayed a notification. "Ring. Descendant Qingcheng has leveled up, rewarding the master with 10,000 years of power." The thunder boomed again. Ken Zhuan was satisfied with the system's reward and also had an additional bonus. The thunder grew louder and spread widely, striking an entire bright sky. The system notified that Chen Zhuan had broken through to the second rank of Dao Sovereign. The bizarre events made Lu Qingcheng's eyes widen, still unable to adapt. Chen Zhuan still lightly laughed contentedly. He calmly said, "Haha, 100,000 years. I was stuck at the first rank of Dao Sovereign for 100,000 years, and now I can finally break through to the second rank. Indeed, I have now become a Chen Zhuan of the second rank Dao Sovereign." Wai Tai's advancement was clear through his imposing aura. He told himself that later he would secretly assist his disciples while continuing to level up. Lu Qingcheng asked with delight, "Grandmaster, is this celestial phenomenon caused by you?" He chuckled and replied, "Haha, there's nothing to fear, it's just a small breakthrough." The girl solemnly lowered her head once more, pondering, "If this is called a small breakthrough, then doesn't that mean I haven't broken through at all?" The girl respectfully said to Chen Zhuan, "So, Grandmaster, the sect is facing an urgent matter. I ask for your permission to return first." He hurriedly stopped her, smiling faintly. "What's the rush? Look at the sunset, it's so beautiful. Why hurry?" Chen Zhuan pointed to the evening sky, where the warm, fiery sunset enveloped a space. Then he smiled invitingly. "Come join me for a steam bath." Lu Qingcheng felt flustered but still followed his invitation, She arrived at the steam room, a mix of confusion and shyness filling her heart. Clutching her towel tightly around her body, she murmured, "Steam bath? What kind of bizarre activity is this? A grandmaster and a sect leader together in here. It's inappropriate for men and women." Lost in her thoughts, she wondered, why did he want me to dress like this? Could it be the grandmaster is that kind of person? In contrast to Lu Qingcheng's awkwardness, Chen Chuan was very relaxed. He leaned back, sighed, and said with a laugh, "So comfortable. What? Can't stand this temperature. This is how a steam bath should be." Noticing her discomfort, he quickly changed the topic. "How about I tell you a story?" Lu Qingcheng immediately nodded eagerly, showing her agreement. But her face turned as red as a ripened tomato, secretly thinking, "Oh dear, this grandmaster really is warm-hearted. It turns out he's not a rogue, just a bit peculiar." Kim Suan began to tell. This story is full of energy, titled Living Together Shyly. It's about a single man and woman living together. Lu Qingcheng suddenly jolted. The rhythm of the story sounded familiar, and she quickly reacted, "Wait a minute. This isn't an energetic story at all. Clearly, it's a romance novel." Dead, the Grandmaster is indeed a rogue. This time, it's truly like sending a lamb into the mouth of a tiger. Lu Qingcheng suddenly noticed that the energy around her was becoming increasingly dense. She couldn't help but ponder, wait, why is the mist gathering around me like this? But just after a moment, she was startled to realize something was amiss. This wasn't mist, it was spiritual energy so thick that it had turned into a tangible substance. She was even more astonished when she recognized that this density was perhaps hundreds, even thousands of times greater than the traditional spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Lu Qingcheng could still hear the calm storytelling voice of the Grandmaster. She saw him chuckling lightly as he said, "Fire of 10,000 desires, a burning fire that consumes everything." At this moment, Lu Qingcheng was taken aback to discover something. He continued to narrate. The young man Abin yearned daily to learn the verbal formula from her. Lu Qingcheng silently speculated in her heart that the Grandmaster's words did not seem merely a simple joke. Unexpectedly, this could be a legendary imperial-level cultivation technique. She collected details from the Grandmaster's story, relating it to the legend of the Fire of 10,000 Desires. Every day he thirsted to learn the verbal formula from her. If that's the case, Lu Qingcheng mused, and then suddenly remembered the pinnacle technique, 10,000 fires dividing the heaven technique. She understood very well the rankings of cultivation techniques. They are categorized from low to high as Huang, Xuan, Di, Tian, and Dai. Even though the Divine Sword sect is renowned for being the most powerful, it only reaches the Dai level. But now, what the Grandmaster said made Lu Qingcheng's heart race uncontrollably. In a moment of daze, she imagined the Grandmaster affectionately saying to her, "Woman, I wish to create a world. In it only I can bully you." These words echoed in her mind like an ambiguous confession, coupled with the notion of using an imperial-level cultivation technique to enchant others. Lu Qingcheng's face turned red, feeling both shy and dreamy. "Hoo, the Grandmaster truly loves me to death." Immediately after, she startled herself, saying, "No, I can't let the Grandmaster down. I must quickly cultivate." Only readers like us can recognize the truth that no, she is overthinking. Chen Chuan cast a probing glance. Finally, a glimmer of hope appeared, and he joyfully thought, "Ha, Xiao Lu has finally noticed." He said to the system, "System, pay close attention. I'm just leading the younger generation to eat, steam, and share stories." The system was so frustrated it wanted to blow smoke, but couldn't do anything. The next day, he officially released Lu Qingcheng and said a few parting words. "Xiao Lu, I have nothing more to entertain you with. If you want to go back, feel free." She quickly replied, "Yes, the younger generation Queen Than thanks Grandmaster for the great kindness." Yesterday, after spending some time in the steam room, she had broken through to the spirit-nourishing realm. She realized that Grandmaster had kept her around to gain enough strength to confront the Divine Sword sect. Qin Xuan, being hospitable, pulled out a calf and offered, "By the way, the road to Wangqian sect is long, so I gift you a calf for the journey. If you get hungry, you can roast it." Lu Qingqing looked at the calf with sparkling eyes. Her mouth watered as she praised, "Oh yeah, so adorable. Thank you, Grandmaster." She looked at the calf, feeling a bit of familiarity but couldn't figure it out. In the end she dismissed it and tidied up before taking the lovely calf back to her sect. Before leaving, she didn't forget to bid farewell. "Then Grandmaster, goodbye." Chen Xuan stayed behind, crying mournfully, instructing the person leaving, "Remember to come home often and check on the stars. Even if it's just to help the Grandmaster wash the dishes, that's fine." Once the figure was out of sight, he let out a sigh of relief. Chen Xuan looked up at the sky and laughed. "Haha, now that Qiu Luo has so many specialties, as long as I don't encounter anything bizarre, it will be fine." He wore a loose cloak and baggy shorts. Standing proudly under the sun, he shouted, "I should be able to deal with that divine convenience sect, right?" The system, upon hearing this, appeared confused, unable to comprehend what he was talking about. Chen Xuan threw off his cloak, wearing only his shorts, happily running around everywhere, laughing and saying, "Haha, Xiao Luo is gone. Now I can just wear shorts and comfortably go out to play with the big birds." The system immediately sent a warning message. "You are the bizarre one. Here there are no big birds aside from the dark phoenix." The scene shifted to a majestic high mountain, where a sect with a formidable atmosphere displayed its pride. The sect leader sat on the throne, sternly asking, "Have we obtained what I desire?" A man and woman subordinate standing below awkwardly replied, "Reporting to boss, we suffered a setback once, but we have attained the thing that the four of us wanted the most." The man added, "However, it seems that people from the kingdom of Vast Moon have been sent to hunt us down." The girl's subordinate pushed the demonic ball up to her superior. The one receiving it was the sect leader of the Divine Sword sect, Nameless Sword, a person with another identity as Tao Principle's realm. He took the precious item in his hands, and his eyes flickered with bold demonic aura. He coldly said, "Is that so? Forget it, this treasure has fallen into my hands. Even if they chase after us here, it will only be seeking death." But immediately after, when he touched the demonic ball, his body began to thrash as if experiencing a strange reaction. The pupils of Nameless Sword suddenly lost the usual demonic aura, only to shrink to the utmost extent. He was taken aback, exclaiming, "Ugh, what is happening to my body?" His voice gradually became suffocating and uncomfortable. "You all, what's happening to my body?" The crowd below watched their sect leader writhing in pain. He staggered, his divine essence becoming chaotic, mumbling unintelligible words. "You all are not members of the Divine Sword sect. I am sect leader Nameless Sword. Quickly return my body to me. If not, He abruptly stopped, his gaze becoming hollow, as if being controlled by an invisible force. Hesitating for a moment, Nameless Sword slapped his own right cheek hard. The pain jolted him, shifting his state, his voice trembling and tentative. His gaze suddenly flashed with a radiant dark energy, his whole being emitting a madness more intense than usual. His voice became deep, cold, and terrifying. Test, why are you so disrespectful every day? It's time to teach this disrespectful one a lesson." The true body of Nameless Sword wanted to break free but was flailed and absorbed into the dark devil's orb. His voice came out, trembling and full of fear. What do you want to do to me?" He screamed in anguish. "I don't want this anymore. My body can't take it anymore. I beg you, spare me, please." The wails gradually faded away. Nameless Sword was entirely swallowed by the dark devil's orb. His soul truly vanished, leaving behind a body completely possessed, now transformed into a new dark entity. He laughed loudly, the sound filled with terror. "Haha, the power. This power is incredible, but I need much more." Nameless Sword soared into the air, gripping the dark devil's orb tightly, then commanded, "Send the order down. Tomorrow instruct the sect to attack Wangxian sect. All of them will become my nourishment." The group of people, upon hearing this, responded simply, "Yes." The next day, at Wangxian sect, a bolt of lightning tore across the sky, piercing through the solid protective barrier of the sect. The legendary formation, said to be unbreakable, which had existed for many years, was now breaking apart, crumbling into countless fragments. Those inside panicked. "It's over. The sect's protective formation has been breached. Everything is spiraling out of control. Within the sect, countless corpses lay scattered across the ground, blood staining the area red. They whispered among themselves, "All these tragic events are caused by one reason. Divine Sword Sect has led people in to kill." Upon hearing this news, everyone in the city was shocked, horrified, and could not believe their ears. What? The protective wall has been broken. Every last fragment of spiritual power is gradually dissipating into nothingness. Yi Chen swaggered forward, casting a shadow over the entire area. He radiated a brilliant light, becoming the focal point of the night. He laughed maniacally. "Haha! Fellow brothers and sisters, aren't you going to run yet?" Yi Chen, a first-grade cultivation expert, was also considered somewhat capable. That's why he dared to be so arrogant. Moreover, he brought along 500 brothers, so his confidence was almost sky-high. Yi Chen sarcastically said, "Only those who know when to adapt are true elites. Your sect leader has already fled. Why not follow our lead and join the divine tribulation?" He showed off his arrogance and complacency in front of everyone's reactions. The crowd below heavily criticized him. They were not only angry at his attitude but also disappointed by the decay of this place. One person shouted in anger, "Yi Chen, you are the eldest senior brother, yet you recklessly lead the disciples to join the enemy. You are truly a disgrace to our sect. I curse you to die in unrest." But Yi Chen did not care about those words at all, even displaying a challenging expression. "Ha! I die in unrest? That should be the fate meant for all of you." Next, he ordered his army to charge in and kill them all. Lu Lingchen, covered in wounds, still stood alone at the front line, risking his life to protect his sect. He was determined that today he would live or die facing this traitor. "Impudent rebel, do you really think that Wangxian sect has no one left?" Lu Lingchen gritted his teeth, pronouncing each word with conviction. Yi Chen, standing beside him, glanced at the scene with mild interest. The person before him was the senior elder, the leader of Wangxian sect. Lu Lingchen was originally a master of the third rank of spiritual cultivation realm, but at this moment he was severely injured. His cultivation skills had been greatly depleted, to the extent that even breathing became immensely difficult. Everyone around couldn't help but worry. A disciple spoke up. "Master, Senior Elder Lu, your wounds have yet to heal, please stop." Despite everyone's earnest advice, Lu Lingchen remained resolute in performing his cultivation technique. He took a deep breath, his voice filled with determination. "Want to lay a hand on the people of Wangxian sect? It's not that easy." The supple movements of the arm, the flames surged up fiercely, the heat enveloping a vast area. Yi Chen felt a hint of panic. After all, his cultivation was 2 ranks lower than Lu Lingchen. If it came to a direct confrontation, his chances of winning were almost zero. Lu Lingchen, his entire body ablaze like a torch, clenched his fist and charged straight at the enemy before him. He shouted loudly, "You want to advance? Then step over my corpse first. Do you want to perish together with me or not?" Yi Chen was terrified by the reckless spirit of this old man. He thought to himself, "He's gone mad. Does he really want to burn everything just to launch this attack?" The flames of Lu Lingchen were indeed terrifying, but in the end they were still blocked. A sword that gleamed as if plated in silver intercepted that lethal strike. Standing opposite Lu Lingchen was the sword enthusiast, the top disciple of Divine Sword Sect. He was at the 8th level of the Nourishing Spirit realm, and the 2 swords in his hands shone unusually, easily stopping the powerful attack of Lu Lingchen. Sword enthusiast sneered disdainfully, his eyes looking down on Lu Lingchen as if watching a farce. "What do you intend to do to me with this little fading strength?" He spoke disdainfully. "Haha, sword technique isn't bad, quick enough. This guy is already strong, and with that bad temper, his notorious reputation has truly reached the Wangxian sect." The people around were left in awe at the scene. "Oh no, it's the sword enthusiast. The sword enthusiast is the strongest talented individual of the Divine Sword Sect. It is said that his abilities can rival even the senior elder." Lu Lingchen was truly nearing his limit. The flames surrounding him gradually faded, no longer burning fiercely as they had at the beginning. The Divine Sword sect has sent forth their best talent that needs nurturing. Is it true that our Wangxian sect cannot escape calamity today? The swordsman continued unleashing an onslaught of techniques. Each move he executed was treacherous. Just one hit would be enough to ascend to the heavens and reunite with the ancestors. His eyes bulged, exuding an overwhelming aura of killing intent. He sneered coldly, "Old useless thing, continued to burn your lifespan." Lu Lingchen was severely injured. On his chest were fatal stab wounds, to the point where the chance to dodge the blow was eliminated, not to mention counterattack. His entire body trembled, aching as he was nearly exhausted. He silently thought, his sword is too strong. The sword enthusiast fought with Lu Lingchen like a cat playing with a mouse. He steadily attacked, forcing the old man's dwindling vitality to deplete. In the end, he delivered a finishing blow and laughed with delight. "Senior brother, there is an opening." Lu Lingchen's body felt as if it were torn apart. He could only let out a gasp of "paft" before collapsing. Those below witnessed the heartbreaking scene, tears and snot streaming down their faces, calling out loudly, "Six, Senior Elder." Nevertheless, no matter how many times they called, it was in vain. He had been beaten to such an extent that merely breathing was already his last effort. The fierce battle ended in just a few short hours. The Divine Sword sect emerged victorious, and the band of villains following them cheered incessantly. Yi Chen lifted his face to the sky, mocking, "Haha, martial brother, what powerful martial arts! Sword enthusiast, put your sword away. Your lifespan has almost burned out. Junior brother, go clean up the remains of your master." Yi Chen stood to one side, putting on a flattering demeanor, responding sweetly, "Yes." The crowd below was filled with rage, collectively opposing, "Don't even think about touching Six, Senior Elder." Yi Chen, full of disdain, snorted coldly. Those who dared to stand in his way always shared the same fate. He coldly said, "Get lost." The next moment, he unleashed a palm strike downwards. A loud explosion echoed, the force of destruction creating a cloud of dust that billowed everywhere. Thousands were injured, the sounds of painful groans resonating throughout. Cough. Yi Chen swung his sword, charging straight towards Lu Lingchen. When the blade was just a hair's breadth from his opponent, he still tried to act fake, sweet-talking in a tone full of treachery. "Master, become my merit in the Divine Sword sect." Lu Lingchen coughed up blood, clenched the sword tightly in his hand, but felt helpless, unable to dodge. His expression radiated profound despair. Lu, the sect leader, has entered the 9 deaths. One life realm, the chances of survival are slim. I am the last line of defense for the Wangxian sect. If I die, does heaven truly turn its back on us? The tip of Yi Chen's sword was less than 10 centimeters away from Lu Lingchen. In that moment, all his efforts and hopes collapsed. Lu Lingchen was on the verge of giving up, only left to desperately wonder, is there truly not a glimmer of hope left for our Wangxian sect? At that moment, a sudden ray of light appeared from nowhere, sending Yi Chen flying thousands of feet away. His body crashed violently into a nearby pillar. The strike was so quick and powerful that Yi Chen didn't have time to evade, taking the full force of the terrifying energy. Everyone, including the sword enthusiast and Lu Lingchen, instinctively turned to look in one direction. Seeing Yi Chen die without closing his eyes right on the spot, his blood and flesh splattered, rocks and dirt flying everywhere, rendering his body unrecognizable. Everyone found the scene truly grotesque. However, no one cared about his grotesque appearance and death. What shocked everyone was the fact that Yi Chen had died. He, the right-hand man of the Divine Sword sect, who had slaughtered thousands of disciples from sects, had been completely defeated with just one blow. Lu Lingchen was also stunned, exclaiming, "Yi Chen, he is really dead." At that moment, Lu Qiqing appeared. Her long, slender legs gently touched the ground, walking as if weightless. She looked at everyone, her cold voice rang out. 100,000 years ago, the Divine Sword sect was just a small sect clinging to my Wangxian sect. Yet now, they dared to bully its master. When she appeared, her serious demeanor and heroic aura made no one dare to underestimate her. Beside her was a large bull, its majestic presence no less than that of its master. Seeing Lu Qingqing, the disciples of the sect were overjoyed and excited. They cheered. Ha, it's the sect leader. The sect leader has returned from the 9 deaths, 1 life realm. Lu Lingchen, who had just been on the brink of death, was now unbelievably healthy. His eyes were wide open, and his voice trembled. Sect leader, you haven't died. Have you invited the Grandmaster? Lu Qingqing, her hair flowing in the wind, smiled softly like a savior. She replied calmly,